The 1st of September, 1939. After a false accusation that the Poles attacked a German radio station, Nazi Germany launches a retaliatory campaign against Poland, triggering World War II. Poland finds itself fighting a two-front war when it is invaded by the Soviet Union from the east on the 17th of September. Warsaw officially surrenders to the Germans on the 28th of September, and one day later, in accordance with a secret protocol to their non-aggression pact, Germany and the Soviet Union partition Poland. After the invasion on the territory of German-occupied Poland, the Nazis begin constructing concentration camps and killing centers, in which millions of people will perish. Because some Polish citizens cannot bear to see what is happening to their country and people, they join the resistance. One of them is Witold Pilecki. Witold Pilecki was born on the 13th of May, 1901 in Oloniec, then part of the Russian Empire. He came from a Polish-speaking noble family whose ancestors had been deported to Russia for participating in an uprising against the Russian occupation, leading to the confiscation of a major part of their estate. In 1910, Pilecki moved with his mother and siblings to Vilnius to attend a Polish school, while his father remained in Oloniec. The First World War started on the 28th of July, 1914, and 2 years later, Pilecki was sent by his mother to a school in the Russian city of Oryol, which was considered safer than Vilnius. The First World War ended on the 11th of November 1918, and the following year, Pilecki participated in the Polish-Soviet War. The war broke out because Vladimir Lenin, the leader of Soviet Russia, saw the newly independent Poland, which was formed in October to November 1918, as the bridge which his Red Army would have to cross to assist other communist movements and to bring about more European revolutions. Lenin's plan, however, did not work out, and in the crucial Battle of Warsaw in 1920, Poland, on the verge of total defeat, repulsed and defeated the Red Army. Pilecki fought in this battle, and by the conclusion of the Polish-Soviet War in March 1921, he was promoted to the rank of corporal, becoming a non-commissioned officer. He briefly enrolled in the Faculty of Fine Arts at Stephen Bathory University, but was forced to abandon his studies in 1924 due to financial issues and his father's declining health. In 1931, Pilecki married Maria Ostrowska, and the marriage produced 2 children. In 1938, for his service to the Polish state, he was decorated with the Silver Cross of Merit, the highest civilian award in the country. The Second World War began on the 1st of September 1939, when Germany invaded Poland. Pilecki, assigned to the 19th Infantry Division, engaged in intense combat against the advancing German forces. The 19th Division was nearly annihilated, with its remaining soldiers absorbed into the 41st Infantry Division. While serving in the 41st Division, Pilecki and his men managed to destroy 7 German tanks, shoot down 1 aircraft, and destroy 2 more on the ground. On the 17th of September, the Soviet Union invaded Poland, further complicating the dire situation for the Polish military, and after suffering a significant defeat, the 41st Division capitulated. Despite orders to retreat through Romania to France, Pilecki chose to remain in Poland and continue to fight underground. In November 1939, Pilecki co-founded the Secret Polish Army, one of Poland's first underground resistance organizations. Early in the war, however, the Polish government in exile aimed to consolidate various resistance groups into a single dominant organization. As a result, Pilecki's group eventually merged into the Home Army. This organization at its peak was the largest underground resistance movement in Europe during the war, with estimates of its membership ranging from 200,000 to as high as 600,000. With the consolidation of resistance efforts underway, Pilecki continued to stand out with his bold strategies and remained a key figure in the resistance. In 1940, he proposed a daring plan to his superiors: infiltrate Auschwitz concentration camp, gather intelligence from within, and organize resistance among the prisoners. Pilecki's plan was approved, and in September 1940, during a roundup in Warsaw, he voluntarily joined the captured civilians and was taken by the Germans along with 2,000 others. After enduring 2 days of torture in a German army barracks, the survivors were sent to Auschwitz. There, Pilecki had his assigned inmate number tattooed on his forearm, and during the photographing process, he lost 2 teeth for not holding the identification sign correctly. While in Auschwitz, Pilecki worked in various labor units and organized the underground union of military organizations. Their tasks included boosting inmates' morale, providing outside news, securing extra food and clothing, establishing communication networks, and training units to take over the camp in the event of a relief attack. Pilecki secretly compiled reports and sent them to the Home Army headquarters with the help of released or escaped inmates. His first report, in October 1940, detailed the camp and the brutal extermination methods, including starvation and severe punishments. By the spring of 1942, the organization had over 1,000 members across most Auschwitz subcamps. Inmates built a radio receiver and hid it in the camp hospital, using it to broadcast details on arrivals, deaths, and inmate conditions. Pilecki's information became a key source of intelligence on Auschwitz for the Western Allies. He hoped the Allies would either drop arms or troops into the camp, or that the Home Army would mount an assault from outside. By 1943, however, he realized no such plans were forthcoming. Meanwhile, the Gestapo intensified efforts to uncover members of the organization, so Pilecki decided to escape from Auschwitz and personally convince Home Army leaders that a rescue attempt was necessary. Assigned to a night shift at the camp bakery outside the fence, he and 2 comrades overpowered the guard, cut the telephone line, and escaped with stolen German documents on the nights of the 26th and 27th of April, 1943. They were prepared to take cyanide if captured to prevent the Germans from learning their secrets. During their escape, German soldiers fired at Pilecki, with bullets passing through his clothing and one wounding him without hitting bones or vital organs. In August 1943, Pilecki arrived in Warsaw and joined the Home Army's intelligence department. He prepared a detailed report on the situation in Auschwitz and tried to persuade the Home Army to liberate the camp's prisoners. However, the Home Army concluded that without Allied assistance, they were not strong enough to seize the camp. Pilecki's report was sent to London, but the British authorities refused to provide air support for an operation to help the inmates escape, considering an air raid too risky and viewing the Home Army's reports of Nazi atrocities as exaggerated. Additionally, the Soviet Red Army, despite being within striking distance of the camp in the summer of 1944, showed no interest in coordinating with the Home Army to free Auschwitz. On the 1st of August 1944, the Home Army, with its 45,000 members, initiated the Warsaw Uprising to liberate the city from German occupation and reclaim Polish independence. Only a quarter of the resistance fighters had access to weapons, fighting against 25,000 German soldiers equipped with artillery, tanks, and air forces. In the first few days of the uprising, Polish forces took control of several districts in Warsaw, including downtown and the Old Town. However, after the initial success of the Home Army, German troops gradually recaptured the city. They surrounded the Old Town and other areas, and after more than 2 weeks of combat, the last Polish soldiers left the Old Town through the sewers. As a result of the fighting, Warsaw's historical district was turned into ruins. By the end of September 1944, German forces had taken control of most of Warsaw, systematically destroying much of the city. During the Warsaw Uprising, Pilecki fought in the northern part of the city. His forces caused significant difficulties for German supply lines, and his unit withstood continuous attacks from German infantry and tanks for 2 weeks. The uprising ended on the 2nd of October that year, with a number of victims exceeding 180,000 people. More than 11,000 Home Army soldiers were captured as prisoners of war, including Witold Pilecki. He eventually ended up at a prisoner of war camp for Polish officers in Bavaria, where he remained until the camp's liberation in late April 1945. World War II in Europe ended on the 8th of May the same year. By late 1945, political power in Poland was firmly in the hands of the Soviet-backed communists, leading to deteriorating relations with a pro-Western government in exile. By this time, Pilecki had been working as a military intelligence officer for the Polish armed forces in the West, loyal to the government in exile. In December 1945, Pilecki returned to Poland to gather intelligence for the West. However, in the spring of 1946, the government in exile decided that there was no hope for Poland's liberation in the post-war political situation and ordered all resistance members to either return to civilian life or flee to the West. Pilecki refused to leave because his family was in the country and his wife was unwilling to emigrate with their children. Additionally, there was a lack of suitable replacement for his duties. In April 1947, he began collecting evidence of Soviet atrocities and the persecution of Poles, especially members of the Home Army and returning soldiers from the Polish armed forces in the West, who were being executed or imprisoned in the Soviet Gulag. On the 8th of May 1947, Pilecki was arrested by the communist authorities and subjected to torture. Despite this, he did not reveal any sensitive information, protecting other operatives. He was charged with illegal border crossing, use of forged documents, not enlisting with the military, carrying illegal arms, espionage for foreign imperialism, and planning to assassinate several officials of the Ministry of Public Security of Poland. On the 15th of May, Pilecki with 3 of his comrades were sentenced to death. Pleas for pardon from a number of Auschwitz survivors were ignored. Witold Pilecki was 47 years old when on the 25th of May 1948, he was executed with a shot to the back of the head at the Mokotów prison in Warsaw. From the 1990s, following the fall of communism in Poland and Pilecki's subsequent rehabilitation, he has been a subject of popular discourse. Numerous institutions, monuments, and streets in Poland have been named after him. In 2006, Pilecki received the highest Polish decoration, the Order of the White Eagle, and in September 2013, the Minister of National Defense announced his promotion to colonel. Pilecki's burial place has not been found to this day, but it is thought to be in Warsaw's Powązki Cemetery. There were many tears shed for Witold Pilecki.
Thanks for watching the World History Channel. Be sure to like and subscribe, and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss our next episodes. We thank you, and we'll see you next time on the channel.